What's up? It's your boy Brandon J back with another episode of the More Action Podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little different because in today's episode, I am going to be reading my first book, The Credit Curriculum, The Basics of Money and Credit. What's up?
Life of a hustler, gotta do it for mother, gotta do it for father, even though he act like a sucker. Life of a hustler, gotta do it for granny, gotta do it for brothers, even if they think I don't love them. Been getting active and hustling.
Now, I'm going to be breaking this video up into parts. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and clip this bad boy, and I'm going to begin reading The Credit Curriculum, The Basics of Money and Credit. On the back here, I wrote a little paragraph explaining my reasons for writing this book, right? At the time of writing this book, I was 27 years old, and I started learning different approaches to building my credit score at 23. In 2019, I had a credit score that was somewhere around the 450s, 500s, and I wasn't able to obtain the things I wanted at the time: an apartment, a new car, and especially a credit card, because fixing my credit was something I knew nothing about. I'm here to save anyone in a similar situation. Credit Curriculum, Basics of Money and Credit. Chapters. We got the introduction. Chapter 1, What is Money? Chapter 2, How does money grow? Chapter 3, Time, Value, and Cost. Chapter 4, OPM, Other People's Money. Chapter 5, Separate Yourself from Everything. Chapter 6, Report versus Score. Chapter 7, Profitable Strategies. And lastly, Summary, Things to Remember. Introduction. First of all, I want to say congratulations to you. Deciding to read this book and learn the necessary steps to build your credit and keep it there is one of the first steps to financial freedom. Not just for you personally, but for your family, your kids, and your business credit as well. I want to change your mindset around money overall. I don't want whoever's reading this to think that good credit, amazing interest rates, or wealth creation is only meant for certain people. I want everyone to understand what they need to do to better themselves in this particular area in finances. It's not easy to execute on something the right way if you don't know certain things, especially when you haven't become the person you need to be that can sustain what you've obtained. You have to be the right person to do the right things. If you aren't going to have the right type of mindset, you can't do what's necessary effectively. I help people who have a money problem understand that they really have an information problem. This is for everyone who desires to understand why their credit score is low. Maybe you already know a little bit about money, but you want to know it all. This is for everyone who wishes this was taught in school before they turned 18 or 22 years old. So when you tried to get your first car or apartment, it wasn't as difficult or expensive. Maybe you're a teenager who wants to be the first in their family with an 800 credit score, and you want it early. Whoever comes across this book, I'm going to help you understand this credit game in full so you can play and win as long as you'd like. Things like Bitcoin and becoming an influencer became more important over time, and people stopped paying attention to the importance of your credit. My name is Brandon Radford, and I had the urge to write this book because in 2019, I had a 500 credit score or lower. I didn't exactly know how to fix it. I ended up owing taxes because I didn't understand exactly how I was getting paid or taxes. That led me to struggling to make payments on time and asking my mom for money. It was annoying for me to do that. The cost of not knowing is high, but since then I've learned how to avoid paying what I like to call ignorance tax. Chapter 1, What is Money? When you think of $10, what's the first thing that comes to mind? The reason I ask is because every person has a different perspective on money. This is my perspective, and I'd like to explain how 97% of the money in use today isn't real money. The money that we use today is called fiat currency. Fiat is a Latin term for let it be so. This means a $100 bill is nothing more than what we perceive it to be. A $100 bill is only a lot of money when it can get you a lot of things that hold value. When the prices start going up, that's what makes the bill seem less than less significant. In 1971, Richard Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. The way things used to work is if the US had $1 million in gold, they could only print $1 million to loan out. However, after 1971, taking the US dollar off the gold standard meant that the Federal Reserve could add as much money to the economy as they'd like, 2 million, 3 million, regardless of the amount of gold they had to back it up. Most of this fiat currency is put into the hands of people who can't handle money. That way, over time, they'll be contributing to a pool of money that's technically created out of thin air. I call it the pool of interest. In the UK alone, lenders make $192 million in interest a day off the loans made out to people. Interest makes most middle class, average, hardworking people work a lot harder than they need to. Banks have the ability to loan out 90% of the money you give them at an interest rate of their choice, depending on the person. For example, if we give the bank $1,000, they can loan out 900 and the process keeps going on and on. The interest paid back to them is where our money comes from when we need it back. That same $100 they created out of thin air is given back to the people who helped them create it as loans for school, cars, a house, things that most people can't afford to pay for in full. Once you get access to money, what you do with it next is everything. The only difference between the poor and wealthy is what they spend their money on. Quote, by the time we get paid by the rich who've gone shopping to go shopping, the price went up, which just creates more debt. End quote. Brandon J. When the price of homes, companies, and cars are low, the rich go shopping. I believe society in general programmed our mind. I say this because it's average middle class people who invest when the price goes up. My opinion is that most people put the value of themselves on objects. More expensive the object, the more valuable they perceive themselves to be if they have it. When the price of certain assets are low and the markets are down, wealthy people see it as a discount. They know assets grow in value over time, and liabilities don't. The average person will invest or go into debt for liabilities. More liability purchases, more loans, and more interest. More interest, more money everybody ends up spending. Fiat currency is how the world keeps spinning. Even though it's fake, it's obviously considered real. When you need some money that you haven't already saved, the most credible will be fine. In other words, make sure you have good credit score. If you still believe money is hard to get, I'm here to tell you that it's not. Those who work harder exert all of their energy faster. People who work smarter have the energy to last longer. When I found out this information, I personally wanted to discover the easiest way to get access to money. I like to think about it like this. You can get approved for $50,000 faster than your boss will pay you $50,000. You can get approved for $50,000 way faster than you can save it too. That's why it's not so hard the more you learn about and understand how to gain access to the money you might need for investments or just everyday life. It's good to have a skill or a hustle that can pay for basic necessities like rent, food, and things like that. However, to make a big change in the community, start a business, provide jobs, or obtain buildings, the capital you need access to could be yours. All you need is a particular frame of mindset and a lot more information. By reading this, you're one step closer. That was the introduction in chapter 1 of my book, The Credit Curriculum, Basics of Money and Credit. We will be finishing this book on More Action Podcast. So if you enjoyed this video, if you would like to finish the book before part 2 comes out, don't forget to grab you a copy on Amazon. Credit Curriculum, The Basics of Money and Credit by Brandon Rafford. Continue watching my YouTube videos, subscribe, like, and comment. If there's anything you heard out of the introduction in this first chapter of my book, let me know what stuck with you the most. Put it in the comments. Um, Also, remember, you can follow me on Instagram, More Action Podcast. Appreciate you for tuning in on this episode. With that being said, go ahead and get you a copy of the book, The Credit Curriculum, on Amazon so you can read along with me on part 2. Until next time, learn as much as you can, and don't just learn it, but implement the things you learn. Take action on the things you learn, all right? It's Brandon J. Peace.